Yesterday, in your response to Birgit, you were saying that you advise, rather than visualizing and trying to manifest, you advise going back to being, and love and health will be an inevitable consequence of being. And my question is, how can I apply? Okay, let me paraphrase. My separate self gets very stuck in feelings of insecurity and shame and whatnot when it comes to relationships, because I'm single, for context, and my heart yearns for a relationship, which is, I know, a very natural social need as a human. So my question is, how can I apply these teachings in a very practical way?
Yes, okay. First of all, this yearning for a relationship is not just a natural social need. It's much deeper than that. It's a longing to manifest in relationship what is already the case, namely that you share your being. So that you're already one. Remember W.B. Yeats, there are no strangers here, there are only friends that you haven't yet met. You're one with everyone. And the desire for intimacy in relationship is a desire to manifest your prior unity, in this case, in an intimate relationship. It's not just a social need, it's much deeper than that. But you don't want to live as an isolated, separate self. Why? Because you're not an isolated, separate self. You share your being with everyone, and you want to live that recognition in intimate relationship, in family and friends, with colleagues, with neighbors, with strangers, and so on. And then to go on to the second part of your question. So you feel insecure, and I think you say shameful and in relationship, and this interferes with your ability to have intimate relationship. So how does this, the understanding we speak of here, how does that help in this situation? It's because you're not this insecure, shameful, fearful self. You're the self behind that, so to speak, which is at peace, that lacks nothing, that doesn't need somebody else's approval, that is not ashamed of itself, that is quietly confident without being arrogant or boastful. So the more you stand as that, rather than standing as an insecure, shameful, fearful self that needs approval and recognition and so on, the more you stand as that, the more you'll act from that in relationship. You won't approach a potential partner from a place of insecurity or need or fear or shame or guilt, or you won't need recognition or approval, or you'll approach them, you'll relate to them from a place of peace in yourself, a place of quiet confidence, a place of clarity, and a place above all where you don't need anything. That's the most important thing, that you don't approach someone, a potential companion, from a place of need. If you do, and you end up getting together with that person, that this neediness in you will be somehow implicit in the relationship. It'll become part of the DNA of your relationship, and it will spoil it later on. So this understanding helps profoundly with all aspects of life, but you're asking about intimate relationship. So, but especially with intimate relationship, because you don't want to start we all know what a relationship between two egos feels like, and we all know how those relationships develop. I don't need to describe that. You don't want that kind of a relationship. You want a deeper, truer, more intimate relationship. So you have to start it not from the basis being a separate self that is anxious and ashamed and needing recognition and above all needy, lacking something. You want to start the relationship from a place of fullness in your soul, a place of peace, a place from I'm totally okay on my own. So the subliminal message you're sending the other person is, I don't need you. I don't want to enter. I don't want to enter into this relationship and use you to fulfill my needs. Because if I do, the moment you do something I don't like, and in other words, as soon as you cease fulfilling my needs, I'm going to start disliking you, and I'm going to criticize you. And it's so to start a relationship from a place of need is a recipe for conflict. So you want to come back to yourself, recognize, feel your fullness, your sufficiency. You're okay on your own. You still long to have a relationship. It's still fine to long to have a relationship, but that longing doesn't come from a sense of lack. It comes from a kind of overflowing of peace and love, and you want to share that with someone and celebrate it and explore it. And so, am I answering your question?
Yes.
Does that give you a
yes, you are answering my question.
And I think I can speak on behalf of men, but I think this is true for everyone. I think it's true for a woman too. If you meet someone that has this kind of quiet confidence in themselves, not in a boastful way, but just this quiet confidence, that this stability, this peace, this absence of neediness, absence of clinginess, it's so attractive. Because you recognize it in such a person, you recognize the potential for so much depth in the relationship in such a person. When you come across a person like that, you can feel a relationship with this person wouldn't be based on need. It wouldn't be a transactional relationship. This could be a truly loving relationship that was not needy and manipulative, and that's very attractive.
I also have a follow-up question.
Yes.
Also the other day, again, in response to Birgit's question, I guess we're thinking on the same wavelength, you said when you do have this overflow of energy, channel it into a relationship, B, an activity. And I was wondering if you could elaborate further on the relationship aspect that you mentioned.
Well, I was speaking of intimate relationship, a companion, a partner. That intimate relationship. It's so well, for many people, it's such an important part of life that you really want, ideally, your relationship to be based on this understanding, which doesn't mean to say that your partner has to come to these retreats if you want to, or read the same books that you, or be interested in the same tradition. I don't mean that. I don't mean it as literally as that, but you want your relation, the foundation of your relationship should be this understanding. I don't mean this. I don't mean my particular expression of the understanding. There are many other legitimate expressions of the understanding we speak of here. And it may not be quite as formulated as we have here. That's also, it's not necessary. Plenty of people can have a deep intuitive sense of what we have here, but don't cultivate it as directly and as explicitly as we do. That's also okay. But you want your relationship to be founded on this, the first law of reality, namely the law of unity, the principle of unity, the fact that you share your being with each other. will give the relationship the best possible chance. It doesn't mean to say that two people that have a deep interest in these matters will necessarily get on well together in an intimate relationship, not at all. But it will give your relationship the best chance of being a truly loving, creative, affectionate relationship without conflict. And then, of course, when conflicts do arise, you have the right tools at your disposal to explore them and dissolve them, rather than the conflict deepening and gradually separating you.
Thank you.